how I practice sim racing on F125. So if I have a particular track that I have coming up that I need to practice for, I will first head into time trial. This is so I can practice running the car at full speed through every corner, trying to figure out which ones that I need to maybe slow down a little bit more on, see where I'm going off at. Here I want to be pushing the car to the maximum to see, where I can and what I can do. Try and set up the car exactly that you would set it up for in the race. So if you're going to be racing with Alpine, don't take a McLaren around the track. Try and prepare for exactly how the car is going to be in the race. So firstly I would do maybe 10-15 laps in time trial to try and get the fastest lap I can get. If I've set the fastest lap on my 10th lap, then I've got a bit of confidence going in. If not, I'll carry on for a few more laps to try and push as I did on that fastest lap, or at least very close to it. So that this sort of sets me up for if I have to do one-shot qualifying, for example, then I've already got in that zone for this. So I'm just going to do that. So you want to be pushing yourself every single lap to see how much you can get away with. It doesn't really matter if you come off at the track, because you just either restart the lap or just try and push yourself for the rest of the lap. So can you brake later into certain corners? Can you brake less on bigger corners? So it's all about working things out really in your practice laps. Make note of the boards on the side, with the marker boards on the side. See, look, it doesn't matter if you go off, you're pushing it, but it restarts again next lap. So got facing the wrong way. So try and just push the car, try and learn bits and pieces of information that you can take into the race. The more laps you do, the better. If you want to do 20-25 laps, then by all means do that. But just try and push the absolute limits of what you can do, and it doesn't matter if you come off. But you just got to remember, well, that's where I came off last time. I know I need to do a little bit less than last time so that I stay on track. Or if I go off again, then I learn that I need to do a little bit less than even more. So yeah, it's a case of just obviously practicing to you feel comfortable. I'll go off there again. But yeah, so this lap time won't really matter. I'll get around the corner, we start again, doesn't matter. You can focus on the actual aspect of the time trial, but it's not necessarily what we're here for at the minute. We're here to try and improve. So we need to make sure that we're focused on improving rather than setting the actual time trial. But it goes hand in hand really. If you're pushing to set the fastest lap, then that should happen if you improve every lap. So you can use the cars in front as the marker, the ghost cars, but that's up to you. I know I've got a bit off the racing line there, so I know maybe try and take that corner a bit better. It's harder when I think earlier on in the first few corners you can get better and better because you know what's coming up. And sometimes if you decide to restart a lap, then you're going to face those corners more often. So if you can try and master the first 4 or 5 corners, then over time, you already know them. Add another corner into the process and gradually build up until you understand the complete track. So you might spin out the last few corners quite more often than you would the early ones, but that's part of the learning process. So you're not going to be a master at the course the very first few times you race around it. So it's all about learning and developing that information. So I could have broke a bit harder there. I am staying with the fast lap, and these are McLarens, so I have my work cut out a little bit here. See, that one was a bit more controlled than some of the other times that I've gone round it. Or thought I'd get in trouble for corner cutting there, but so the second stage of my practice would be to set up a Grand Prix. The reason for this is, whilst we've been learning to go flat out in time trial, if you're, say, not at the front of the grid, maybe in the middle of the pack, maybe at the back of the pack, often where I am, then you've got to learn more control over the corners with traffic in front. You can't just go full pelt. You've got to take into account that you might have to brake a little bit earlier. You might need to consider other drivers. Now, when I practice this, sometimes, you know, I'll go into the back of people in the early corner, so I'll just restart the race, because what I want to work on is that early carnage of starting off. You know, I need to try and avoid that as much as possible, and it's often where you get the bumps, and if you damage your front wing, then it can have a severe impact on the race. So, you know, I need to learn the corners where, you know, I've got to brake much harder than I would trying to go flat out based on the traffic. So we're heading to Grand Prix until we had maybe a satisfactory practice on there. So yeah, we'll restart a lot. Again, we'll try and match the settings of what we're doing, the same racetrack, the same car as best as we can. And yeah, maybe if you know in your career it's going to be raining, maybe you want to go out and practice in the rain before you actually take on the race itself. So on F2 it goes straight from qualifying to the race, and there's no practice. I've yet to start season 2 of my F1 career, so I don't know if practice sessions are built into that already. So that's something, you know, I've got to figure out. So hopefully I will know that information when we start season 2 in the coming days. Hopefully Santa brings us some new racing gear. Oh, so I lost a bit of control there at the start. So here we are. So already, like, I don't know why I tried to brake with my accelerator pedal, but you know, I've messed up. So let's just restart the session, and now we'll take that on board. Oh, remember the first corner, they're going to slow down a bit, so we try and get that right on the second restart. See if we can do a bit better. I think I was talking and not paying attention. Right, so that's a smoother start than the last one. So we lost a few places because we broke maybe a bit too heavily, but you know, we've made it through the first few bends. We've got to keep that sort of control. Oops. Wheel to wheel racing. Try and get in front of him. Oh, I've gone wide. Hey, he's pushed us off there. It's naughty. So yeah, no, we would have been really heavily far back then after being spun. So, you know, we'll restart then, and we've got a bit of progress, so that we carry on restarting a little bit until we have like a fairly sort of good practice. Now anything can go wrong, so I see I've had a slower start there. I think I've got overtaken by all of them. But that's not too bad, because we're still in the race, so we can still work back a few places. And whoa! So, you know, all is not lost. Look, we're right up behind them. Maybe we can go for our own little move here, try and get one of them back. So, you know, we're still in the race. That's good. It's where we want to be. Look, now a more heavier braking corner. We've got it right, but there are times you might get it wrong. And we're trying to get a place back. pushed me off track a bit, but you know, at least we're there. What you don't want to be doing is figuring some of this stuff out on the race day itself, when you've practiced 15 laps on going as fast as you can, but you go in the back of someone because you're going as fast as you can. So this gives you the time to sort of do that. So yeah, this is why I come into Grand Prix. It doesn't matter in your season, or if you're preparing for, you know, some online races, then you've got a little bit of know-how for how the race it will go itself. Didn't enter that corner very well. Oh, spun out. Yeah, so you end up talking. Sometimes you're thinking of what to say rather than focusing on. But you know, hopefully you're doing a lot better than I am on the races. You know, my job's to help you as best I can, not look as good as I can be. So yeah, that's my feedback on practice really, and then I'd head into qualifying and the race itself, trying to remember the information from both sets of practice really. If you wanted to, if you did the time trial in preparation for the qualifying, you could then do the qualifying, come back out, practice on a few Grand Prix, and then take on the actual Grand Prix itself. But yeah, that's how I practice for F1 sim racing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully see you in season 2 coming soon.